Hey, it's Matt from Gravity. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about spam protection for your Gravity Forms site. We're going to go over some core things that you can do to help prevent that spam, and then take a look at some of our add-ons and other services that you can implement on your WordPress site to protect your Gravity Forms from all that incoming spam. Let's take a look at a really basic form here, and we're going to start by going to the form settings inside this donation form that I have. We're going to scroll to the bottom. And one of the first things that you can do is enable an anti-spam honeypot. By the way, anything in Gravity Forms, if you hover over the little info link, you'll get a little bit more information. So it enables the honeypot spam protection technique, which is an alternative to the reCAPTCHA field. You can actually run this in tandem if you'd like. This will put a hidden field inside of a form that this is activated on, and if it's not human visible, but if bots see it or spam bots see it, oftentimes they will fill that out. That's the sort of concept of a honeypot. You put something out there to see if something goes inside of it. If that something goes inside of it, it's probably an intruder, and in this case, some kind of spam bot. So you have two options here. You will never see the form field in your form, but you can enable either do not create an entry or create an entry and mark it as spam. And that way, it'll, if it is filled out, you'll never see it, and your system will never process it. It will be marked in your Gravity Forms core logs on the server if you truly needed to see something. But the odds of a human filling out a hidden field are pretty thin for that to actually happen. So you can leave that as a do not create an entry for now. Save settings, and that'll just work as is. Little technique that you can do and use without installing anything else in Gravity Forms. Another thing that you could do if we edit the form, you could have a spam question that works off of conditional logic. You could do something as simple as 4 + 1 = ? And then have the user enter that in. And then through conditional logic, if we enable conditional logic, you would say, show the submission field. Oh, sorry, I got to click on this one. So we go to submit. Conditional logic, 4 + 1 = is, and the value would be 5. So you would never see the submit field on your form until that question is answered correctly. This is pretty basic. You could come up with a real complex question that maybe that the form that you're working with, only the people that are going to interact with this form are going to know the answer to a question. Maybe this is very useful for housing authority, membership website, something where that form is public, but that most people interacting with it are really connected to you in some way. This could be a real static / dynamic way to protect your form from spam. But that is something that isn't really the best option if you're looking to fight spam globally. So that is one option. Another thing you could do, especially if you are ever worried about getting spam attacks on a specific form on your WordPress website, is you could always enable the entry limit. So if this isn't something that is a high ticket sales form, lead gen form, newsletter sign up form, and that, look, this should never really have more than 100 contacts ever, you could put in a total number of entries up to 100 by day or week or month or year. And what this is almost like a stopgap. If your site has ever been attacked by spam before, that oftentimes it's thousands of entries that come through, and you start getting those email notifications, starts filling up your inbox, your entries inside of Gravity Forms starts to fill up. But you could limit that to 100, and that would stop the form from working for anybody else that actually is legitimately trying to use the form. But if you think that this is a very low volume form, this could stop the excess, the overhead of being attacked by spam, because let's face it, even with a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you today, the spammers and the bots are constantly evolving, and there's always going to be some kind of wave that gets through until a lot of these systems are updated and eventually know how to combat that spam. So that is something that you could do as a stopgap, right? And enable the entry limits for a Gravity form. Okay, let's take a look at some of the add-ons that you can get and enable inside of Gravity Forms. I won't walk you through all of like the sign-up process on these services, but I'm going to show you 3 services now that are very popular with Gravity Forms and popular with WordPress. The first one being Akismet, which is an automatic-owned spam protection company. This has been shipping with WordPress forever and generally known for its blog comment spam protection. But if you do have Akismet and you are paying for it, or if you have a free account, they offer free API keys for folks who are not doing any kind of commercial endeavors with their WordPress website. You can activate the Akismet add-on, and this will automatically protect all of your forms. So if we go back to form settings, or actually right here at Akismet, you can enable this by default. So if Akismet is enabled, it'll protect the form and you don't really have to do anything else. As long as you have a valid Akismet API key enabled, it's activated on the website and you can toggle on and off on a per form basis. So not a lot of frills with Akismet, but Akismet will report any of its spam protection in your Akismet dashboard, whether you're a free customer or certainly a paid customer. Okay, let's take a look at something that is another add-on that is very popular. If we go back to our add-ons, you can get Cloudflare Turnstyle. It is way down here. Right here, Cloudflare Turnstyle add-on. With this activated, you would set up a Cloudflare account, and Cloudflare has their sort of CAPTCHA alternative, which I'll show in a moment. And inside the Cloudflare Turnstyle, you would put in your site key, your secret key, and enable this like you would enable any other kind of like connector add-on for Gravity Forms, right? Whether it's like MailChimp or HubSpot, you're getting those keys and you're dropping them right in here, and that'll activate Cloudflare Turnstyle on that form. And if we go to our forms and edit, and we go to the bottom, it's not on the bottom, so we'll just search Turnstyle. We'll bring this right in, and we put that right before our submit button. And like everything else, once it's activated, it'll just be here. And if the website loads or the visitor comes to the website and it loads and it thinks that that visitor might be from a known malicious network, a spammer, a kind of bot, it will display the Cloudflare Turnstyle, which generally is a little checkbox. And when you check that box, it does its thing behind the scenes and validates whether or not this is either a human or a bot. Right? If you are using Cloudflare services already, you're using it to protect your WordPress website, which, by the way, is another way to prevent spam. By putting Cloudflare in front of your WordPress website, you'd be mitigating those bots from ever hitting your website to begin with. So that's actually another step here in this whole protecting your site against spam. But the Turnstyle add-on in the field will just work effortlessly with your visitors. Another add-on that we'll take a look at is the CAPTCHA field, which is already here by default. So if we go and search for CAPTCHA, bring that in. This one also not configured, but if we go to the reCAPTCHA settings, you'll go to Google and get your site key to put in. Same thing, you can switch from a checkbox to invisible, and it'll only show up when it thinks that the visitor is a spam or bot kind of account, right? Both of these are, third-party services. Turnstyle from Cloudflare, reCAPTCHA from Google. You'd have to have free accounts there, and of course agree to their terms and services, whether you're a commercial business or not, right? But these are 2 larger, most popular services for protecting that spam. So let's just quickly recap where we've gone and what we've done so far. Out of the box, you can enable the Honeypot field so that it's a hidden field where no humans can see it, but bots can see it. That's the anti-spam Honeypot. You can enable that by default. Then you can enhance your security through either Akismet, Google reCAPTCHA, or Cloudflare Turnstyle. There is another service that is available, or another plugin, I should say, that is available, which you'll see right down here, Prevent Spam using Gravity Forms Zero Spam. This is by one of our certified developer partners Gravity Kit. This is a free download right from WordPress.org. You just search for Gravity Forms Zero Spam or maybe Zero Spam, and you'll find it, and you can install it and activate it. There's nothing else you have to do. It's sort of like the Honeypot system, where it's kind of hidden behind the scene with some JavaScript code. And if the bots are scanning for that kind of thing, it sort of ends the entry from happening. We can take a look at some of those settings. If we go to Forms Settings, Zero Spam, and by default, enable Add Zero Spam to all Gravity Forms or disable it across the board. And then it will, or by default, disable to sending you any kind of spam report message. But you could set this up based on a threshold, how many spam notices you get, twice daily, weekly, monthly. So if you want to just double check, hey, maybe these things that are going to spam are things that I actually need, you'll be able to get those reports and understand how much this plugin is stopping that. And that's Gravity Forms Zero Spam from Gravity Kit, which you can find for free in WordPress.org. You could run both of these. You could run all three. You could do anti-spam honeypot field. You could do Zero Spam, and you could run Turnstyle or CAPTCHA. You could also limit the amount of entries a form can get, just in case one of these breaks down and the bot gets through, which inevitably it will happen. You would have this sort of max entries that goes through the form. Again, I would only do that on a form that isn't super important for your business or your client's business, okay? We will be running a webinar for the anti-spam stuff like this to go a little bit deeper and have more Q&A with our Gravity Forms users. If you want to watch that webinar, I think by the time you see this video, it will be up on learn.gravity.com, which is our learn/academy site. Check that out, learn.gravity.com. If you want to learn more about the anti-spam stuff or Gravity Forms, head on over to gravityforms.com. As always, if you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want more. Leave a comment below. How are you defending yourself against the onslaught of spam bots on your WordPress website? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.